Now more than ever, we, the peoples of the world, need to make a big push to help solve the climate crisis, sharing all those stories, projects, efforts and visions that can inspire the rest of the world to take action now. For that, we present the Climate Awards, a tool to catalyse the best projects, actions and photos. The winners will present their works at the COP28 in Dubai. The Climate Awards has two categories: Climate Solutions, where people and organisations can show in a video what they are doing to tackle down this crisis. Educational projects, activism, individual actions, all is welcome. The other category is Planet Earth Photography, a photo award to remember the beauty of this planet and all that can be lost if we do not act. You can participate through the Agora Awards app or agoraawards.com. Together, we can save our home.
Yes. Well, wow, I have to say, and welcome to this session on the Climate Awards by Agora. And Agora, as we have just seen, is a platform for worldwide awards that showcases the ingenuity of people everywhere. The Climate Awards, now in their second year, are conducted in support of the United Nations Act Now campaign, which encourages people to integrate sustainable action into their everyday lives. The awards are open to anyone everywhere with the aim of bringing out the best ideas and solutions worldwide. The award we are presenting today is on climate solutions. Over 100 individuals and organizations from dozens of countries submitted videos presenting their projects to tackle the climate crisis. From efforts to protect the ocean and build resilience to climate shocks, to advancing sustainable agriculture and reforestation, the submissions show action and solutions that are driving change. Let's watch a brief video with an overview of the 10 finalists.
End game is pulling us out of a very extractive, difficult way of living on the planet that is not sustainable, and redesigning how we live here in ways that are reciprocal and loving of nature and of each other.
The KT Greenhouse in a Box was designed to solve the challenges of climate risk and the effects of climate change in Indian agriculture. Climate change not only affects people in cities, but more importantly wipes out huge swaths of agriculture. So there are about 100 million small farmers in India, and they, on average, the Indian government found, lose money from agriculture.
الانبعاثات من التنقل بالسيارة، ثانياً الانبعاثات من النقل الجوي، والآن إجمالي استهلاك الكهرباء والماء. يأتي بعد ذلك الوقود المستهلك في الطهي.
If you do it properly, you give your land enough time to recover. Baskets and baskets of full, beautiful vegetables, cereals, any kind of cropping systems. There's so much wealth in it. But you have to condition that land, bring it back into ways where it is alive.
De 2019 à 2023, Borda a ainsi accompagné 55 425 personnes, dont 14 486 femmes. Le projet Résilience et sécurité alimentaire a renforcé les capacités de résilience des communautés locales fragilisées par les conflits armés et les effets néfastes des changements climatiques.
World's first, right here. make decisions and have definitions of success that is defined by greed, by selfishness, which serves only the human race. To become a contributor towards harmony of a natural world, we need to respect life forms, all life forms on Earth.
Alley cropping with the tree genus Inga turns the problem on its head. This fast-growing tree is planted along the contours of the land in hedgerows. In a matter of months, they grow to form a canopy, shading out most of the weed growth. At the appropriate time, they're pruned back to about chest height, and the leaves are stripped to form a thick carpet of mulch.
So I'm so proud of what we're doing down here on this wildlife corridors, whether it's the hundreds of volunteers who've been down on this farm, our 6 full-time employees, or seeing our shed slowly evolve with the solar system, the nursery, 30,000 trees, 150 species, and the fact that we're having to manage this grass organically is really hard. All of us are learning together how we can manage an unruly landscape organically without synthetic herbicides, without synthetic pesticides, and it really has global relevance and local relevance. We need more low-cost models for regenerating land that make good business sense and not only look after landscapes, but make sure that we can create resilience within the communities that live and support wild areas around the world.
Wonderful, wonderful work that we have seen here just now. And it is now my great pleasure to welcome a panel of wonderful speakers to discuss the awards, but also to discuss on how to affect change. And it's my great pleasure to welcome Dia Mirza, actor, producer, UNEP Goodwill Ambassador for India, and SDG advocate. Welcome, Dia, and thanks for being here with us. Thank you. Next to her, we have Aurélie Kalenga. Aurélie is a jury member and the manager at Africa Climate Reality Project. Thanks for being with us, Aurélie. And Zoe Red is also a jury member, and she is the Strategic Partnership Director at Creatives for Climate.
Happy to be here.
And we will hear a little more about that in a minute. And then we have Claire Brooks, jury member as well, and the Global Lead for Sustainability at Google Arts and Culture.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to all of you. And Dia, I would like to start with you. You are an advocate for the Sustainable Development Goals, appointed by the UN Secretary General, and you are a passionate champion for nature and for climate action. How are you using your voice to mobilize action? And in doing so, what have you found to be most impactful to make a difference in tackling the climate crisis?
Thank you. Am I audible? Okay, great. It's a combination of a few things. One, I think harnessing the power of storytelling and bringing solutions and spotlighting incredible people and the extraordinary work that they're doing has really built the momentum on creating awareness and, of course, furthering advocacy work in India and around the world. I find that in the last decade, I've successfully managed to use my social media platforms to truly recognize, spotlight, and celebrate champions across the world, not just in India. Because I feel, the climate crisis can feel extremely overwhelming and daunting for a vast majority of people, and so much so that they tend to look away and not want to be a part of the solution because the situation tends to frighten them so much. But when we share solutions and we share champions and we share the work and the stories of people that are truly impacting lives at a grassroots level or are a part of different parts of the world, is doing extraordinary work, it really changes the narrative for a lot of people in their own minds and hearts, and it harnesses their own individual potential and makes them participants of action. And the second thing that I find is there is nothing more powerful than implementing change in your own life. I think one of the things that I've had the advantage of is, because I had access to science, because I was learning through the advocacy work that I was doing with the United Nations Environment Programme, I started to implement so many of these changes in my own life. For example, segregating and managing waste, trying to make my co-op a zero-waste society, traveling with my own bottle, going everywhere. So now there's a hashtag traveling bottle that's become quite famous. And I see more and more and more people in India traveling with their own bottles, refusing single-use plastics. So I think, or having, whether it's my child's first birthday celebration, helping more people recognize that plastics are mostly made, balloons are made mostly with plastic, that it's just harmful to the environment, how our festivals, our personal celebrations can become more environmentally friendly and inclusive. So I think that the power of the individual choice is also something that can go the distance. And the third thing, of course, is, the phenomenal work that young people are doing in the country, and the kind of opportunities that we've been able to, as UNEP, as SDG advocates, giving young people a voice at the table and a chance and an opportunity, and especially women, an opportunity to bring their solutions, their interventions, their ideas, and their questions to the front has been, I think, what has really helped evolve the narrative and shape the narrative and see it going in the direction that it is today.
Thanks so much, Dia, and thank you very much also for being such a champion for inclusiveness yourself. And as you said, really a message of hope, but then also giving people very concrete actions and behaviors that they can integrate. And you just mentioned one example, and that's of course also what the Act Now campaign is doing and encouraging people to do, that these awards are in support of. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dia. And Claire, I would like to go to you next. As sustainability lead at Google Arts and Culture, you work to bring together science, technology, and the arts. That's quite a combo, quite a powerful combo. So how can this be a force for change across climate, sustainability, and social issues? And also, how did you see this play out in the video submissions you reviewed for this award?
Thank you. So to answer the first question, so we come from a position of, we're a technology company. The team that I work in is arts and culture, and obviously culture has a big role to play in, to access people in an emotional way. So, how best to have that position that we have of having technology at our fingertips that we can use to tell those stories, to engage with people with such a platform as well. But also, we have so much data, in the world. There is so much open source data so we have over 100 partners as part of our program, and these are some of them at NASA, for example. We're actually here with a project around freshwater availability with NASA, because these are data sets that not many people are looking at, or they don't know how to look at. Also, when we think of reports, scientific reports, the IPCC reports, I read through them, but not many people do. One of my jobs is to read through these reports and make sure that I can make digestible ways of understanding the science, but also not just the science, but the solutions, the recommendations. So what are the mitigation methods, the adaptation methods for each of these problems? But how do we communicate that to people by using that emotional force, which is culture and art? And so that's what we do in the program, is we work with artists. We create that bridge between scientists, data, technology, and artists to create practical tools online that is free for everyone to use. Anyone that has a network can use these, and they engage with people emotionally. Why? Because they also use storytelling. So just to add to your point, storytelling is such a critical element to use right now in this issue. And why? Because it accesses people in a way that is very difficult when you're just talking about numbers. So that's how we create that bridge between data, science, reports, and then stories, visuals, and we enlist the help of artists to do that because they are the best people to do that. So that's how we think we can make impact. But then also it's not just engaging with broad audiences, we're also engaging with policymakers. So we come to COP every year with an installation, with a project that also tries to engage with people about the present. People are here running around, going from one session to another, but we tend to forget why we're here. Oh, there's a freshwater crisis looming. Yes, the water experts know this, but not everyone's talking about this. It needs to connect to what we're negotiating here. So how do we connect that? By having real world experiences. How do we get to people? Well, what is the water crisis? What is happening? What is our water budget? And that's what we're doing this year, for example. And then to answer your second question, I think, so a lot of these videos, a lot of these films and these solutions really, I felt were really powerful because when we talk about climate change, we talk on a macro level, like a lot of the time, and it feels very distant, the hyper object, right, of our times. And I think going down to the local level, the more micro level, is so helpful as well to kind of look at this from that angle. It really touched me, actually. A lot of these films, all of them actually, really did a lot to me. Like, I didn't know about these solutions. I didn't know what people were doing. And we need to amplify these voices. We need to find a way to use our platforms. It's our duty, really, to have these big platforms and to amplify these voices as much as possible. So thanks for inviting me to be a jury, because it was really helpful to see these solutions and feel hopeful as well.
And you emphasize storytelling, and of course that's exactly what we see in these videos. And it goes back also to what Dia said before. I mean, really to engage people through hope. Rather than making it, leaving them alone with this looming crisis. So, and we see this here, and we see these stories of hope in the videos and in the awards. Aurélie, you are with the Climate Reality Project, and that is led by former U.S. Vice President Al Gore. And the project trains and mobilizes grassroots leaders for climate action around the world. In Africa alone, I believe you have a network of over 1,000 climate reality leaders. And last year's winner of the Agora Climate Awards was, in fact, from the African Climate Reality Project. Can you tell us what inspiring stories you have seen on the continent and how they're driving change?
Yes, thank you very much for inviting me here today. At ACRP, the African Climate Reality Project, while we believe in the science and the facts, we also believe in storytelling, especially in the African context. It's a very huge way to preserve our history, to preserve our traditions, our cultures, but also to pass down indigenous knowledge where a lot of the solutions to the climate crisis actually lie. And so ours at ACRP is to really amplify the voices of rural communities, of women, of children who bear the brunt of the climate crisis, but also have a lot of solutions and who are applying it in their own communities. And through the work that we do, as you said, we produced the documentary that won last year's award, African Voices for African Forests, tells a wonderful story about a protagonist, Ewi. She's right here with us today, and how she is leading reforestation work in her community with women and the youth in that community. We also have stories about activists in South Africa. We produced a docu-series called Not on Our Soil, where we talk about the climate crisis through their perspectives and the solutions that they can lean on when it comes to youth or gender or civil society, journalism, and so forth. And we really look at the climate crisis through that lens to come up with some solutions. And just by being on the ground with our community of climate leaders that you do mention, we have more than 2,000 now, because actually last month we were in Ghana where we did another training, and we have a lot more climate leaders who are part of our network now. But through doing work with them, we hear about some real life impacts of the crisis, on the ground. We hear about the health impacts that they face because of new coal developments in their communities. We hear about, lack of jobs and lack of resources, and the fact that the finances, the big projects, that were invested in their communities, that were promise to bring financial relief and economic freedom are actually not yielding any of those results. And we hear about how women continue to have to go to the well to get water, and how, you know, there's no electricity in communities, which makes it unsafe for children. So all these stories are told. You know, it's one thing when we have to relay them, but when you see the person who's affected tell their own stories through a film, through poetry, through art, it makes it a lot more powerful, and it also humanizes the climate crisis, because a lot of people think of it as an abstract, big scientific thing with a lot of big words, and they don't see how it really affects people on the ground. And that's why we believe in storytelling, because it really helps to amplify the voices of the people who are most concerned.
Thanks so much, Aurélie. I already realized we're coming back to the same themes. I mean, really telling stories, telling human stories, being inclusive also in what we're showing. You spoke about the efforts of women and also of youth activists, and that is so important, and that's what we see also with the awards. And Zoe, I would now like to turn to you. You are with Creatives for Climate, which is a global non-profit network of professionals using creativity to advance climate action. And you're also urging the broader communications industry to use its power for good. So how do you prod this powerful, big industry to shift really their approach? And how do initiatives like this award help advance that mission?
So happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. So I'm Zoe Red. I'm part of Creatives for Climate, which is a global intelligence network of advertisement professionals. And you can imagine that these are the myth builders of our society. So I believe that the stories we continue to tell each other shape our reality. And if we can find a story that we tell at the right time, at the right place, it can be the leverage point of systemic change. And this collective, all these minds together, this intelligence network, aims to help climate solutions, because the solutions are out there, and that is what we see also in this great award, that solutions are out there, but most of them are still gathering dust on the shelves of scientific magazines. So the goal of Creatives for Climate is to build a bridge between creative professionals, between advertisement, communications, marketing professionals, and the existing solutions that are already out there waiting to scale. And besides that, we focus on how to scale these solutions and make them bigger, we also tend to keep an eye on the problem. So Creatives for Climate is here at COP sharing this tool that we created, which is called the Greenwash Watch. And this tool showcases the 6 shades of greenwashing. These are the marketing tactics that multinational corporations use to act as if they're sustainable, when in fact nothing in their product or service is. And one of the most common ways of greenwashing is green shifting, which is implying that the consumer is at fault and shifting the blame on them. Gaslighting, exactly. So we can look at the consumer and say, stop using plastic, do your light bulb, and all of that is true. However, we all know that the fossil fuel industry is the main cause of the climate emergency. And we are here in Dubai at COP28, and there is so much we can do. So I and Creatives for Climate am sharing this tool with all of the leaders here today, so that if you see greenwashing happening, you can just identify it, snap a picture, and share it with #CreativesForClimate. And we will ensure that we will keep our industry accountable for real change.
Thanks so much, Zoe, and really an incredible, helpful tool and reminder. I have one in my bag, of course, already, and will apply it widely. But also thanks for really, making the case for bringing the solutions that we have already talked about to scale through communications. And that, of course, is what you're doing. So thank you all very much. But I think now it's time to come to the awards and the winners. And Aurélie, as one of the jury members, can you reveal, please, the winner of the People's Award? That is the submission that received the most votes on the Agora app.
With pleasure. Thanks so much. So the people have spoken, and the People's Award goes to One Earth.
One Earth it is, and unfortunately they can't be with us here today, but we have a brief video message from co-founder and executive director Justin Winters.
Hello, I'm Justin Winters, co-founder and executive director of One Earth. My team and I are so excited and honored to accept the Climate Solutions Agora Award with the United Nations Act Now campaign. Our mission at One Earth is to empower everyone, everywhere, with the knowledge, inspiration, and opportunity to heal the earth and reclaim our future. We are so grateful to everyone who voted for us. And while we're unable to attend COP28 this year, we are certainly there in spirit and in commitment. At One Earth, we're committed to creating stories that not only inform, but also inspire action across the Earth's incredibly beautiful 185 diverse bioregions. We are continually inspired by the millions of incredible people and organizations doing work around the world to solve the twin crises of climate change and biodiversity loss. This award and recognition is truly for them. Thank you again for this recognition, and congrats to all the finalists and participants for their incredible efforts. While COP28 is an important convening, the real action is happening every day by a growing movement of diverse, dedicated, and talented people who believe that we can solve this, and that together we can create a vibrant and just future. Thank you.
Wonderful message there from Justin Winters, but now it's up to the jury's award. And Aurélie, if you could tell us who is the jury's winner, please.
The winner for the jury's award is Arhuacos.
Congratulations to Arhuacos, and it is now my great honor and pleasure to invite to the stage Calixto Suarez Villafañe. Please join us. And I know, Calixto, you need an interpreter. If you would want to speak from the podium. And
hola, muy buenas tardes para todos. En primer lugar, pues agradecer a todas las personas que me han acompañado y también darles gracias a los jurados por haberme dado esta oportunidad de trabajar, de seguir trabajando. Y también darles gracias a todas las personas que me han seguido a nivel del planeta.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to be here at COP28. First, I would like to thank to all the people who have given me this recognition, United Nations, Agora, the juries, and all those people who have been supporting me in Europe, America, Asia, and here in the United Arab Emirates.
Yo creo que eso es muy importante entender entre el mundo indígena y el mundo no indígena.
I would like to tell you about the dynamics or experience of indigenous thinking in general.
Eso no quiere decir que del otro lado sea mejor o no, sino cómo trabajar conjuntamente.
He said that it's important to work together, not distinguishing between indigenous and normal people.
Porque en este momento sabemos el problema, la crisis que tenemos a nivel planetario.
Because right now we are in a crisis, in a climate crisis, which is human crisis.
Por eso exigimos, hacemos el llamado la unidad.
That's why we are calling for unity.
No más confrontaciones.
No more war.
Si queremos lograr cambiar, actuar frente a la clima, pues unidad y actuar.
If we want to work for the climate, we need unity, peace.
La responsabilidad de cada individuo, ahí empieza tanto el hombre y las mujeres, ocupar sus roles personalmente.
We need to, each one, ladies and gentlemen, all the people have a role, a real role here in the world.
Unificar estos conocimientos todos tenemos esa responsabilidad de unificar estos conocimientos tanto a nivel pueblos indígenas y no indígenas, científico, artístico, todo, unificar y hacer algo por el cambio climático.
Both indigenous and not indigenous people must act. What can we do? Work with people, organizations, governments, make a dialogue of knowledge and work together to save the earth.
Hacemos invitaciones a los líderes mundiales.
We are inviting to the international leaders.
Unifiquemos.
Con unity.
Extrema derecha es malo, también extrema izquierda también es malo. ¿Cómo trabajar conjuntamente?
We have to work together. People from the left, from the right, we must work together.
Porque el día no lucha contra la noche.
Because the day does not is against the night.
Así mismo tenemos que ser.
That's what we need.
Y eso es el cambio climático y actuar.
We need to act against climate change.
Y ahora, pues, el último.
And now at the end,
¿qué hacemos?
What can we do?
Porque nos hemos reunido muchos.
Because we have been reunited, talking and talking.
Tenemos que hacer algún compromiso, pequeña escala o gran escala.
We must do a compromise, small or big scale.
Algún compromisos personales.
This is a personal compromise.
A ver, ¿qué hacemos?
What can we do?
¿Qué aportamos?
What can we? How can we act?
En ese sentido, me ofrezco el diálogo con el mundo indígena y no indígena. Sentémonos en la misma mesa y hacer algo.
We must do a dialogue between the high people and the president and the important people who is here and the indigenous community. We must to act together. We need to talk on the table, and first talk, a real talking.
Entonces, por eso avanzamos de las 3 líneas que son la unidad, la paz y la verdad.
That's why we have to act first and through peace and unity.
Porque la unidad es importante.
Because the unity is the most important.
Y la paz de todos los.
And the peace is important, the peace of all.
Necesitamos estar en paz con nosotros mismos y también los animales de la naturaleza que estén en paz.
We have to be in peace ourselves and also to be in peace with nature.
No tengamos vergüenza de expresar lo que sentimos. Esa es la verdad.
And we don't have to be fair to say the truth.
Muchísimas gracias para todos.
Thank you so much.
Callistos, thank you so much for this wonderful and inspiring message. And what better way than to conclude this meeting, this event. I would like to thank our wonderful speakers. I would like to congratulate again all the award winners. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you will join us tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the Planet Earth Photography Award. Thank you all very much.
Oh. Congratulations. Yeah. Please.
One more, please, sorry. One more at this angle.